this day have set upon a mighty endeavor. Souls will be shaken with the violences of war in this hour of great sacrifice. We shall prevail.
Get your head down and keep moving!
We are all that separates the world from darkness. The enemy is ruthless. We cannot, we must not fail.
Duty first. Hey, Perez! Won't be enough for you! Casualties.
We executed the mission.
Get me the fuck out of here. How many?
We had orders!
Get to cover!
Lieutenant, tell them what we're all about.
No mission too difficult. No sacrifice too great.
Welcome to the Bloody First. You're a long way from Texas, farm boy.
Call of Duty World War II is the 14th installation in the franchise. Coming out on November 4th, 2017, World War II went back to its roots by scrapping the advanced movement and futuristic weapons, and returning to the Second World War, the same setting as the first Call of Duty game in 2003. It was released on PC, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. The gameplay you'll be seeing is recorded from the perspective of the Xbox One. In order to truly review this game, we need to understand the three aspects of it: campaign, the story mode; multiplayer, the online player versus player or PvP; and Nazi Zombies, a survival co-op game. All three of these aspects are incredibly in-depth and fleshed out. Due to this, I'll be dividing this review into 3 parts by reviewing each of these separately before my overall conclusion at the end. We play as Ronald Red Daniels, a private in the 1st Infantry Division. Within the first mission, we meet other characters that will play a big role in the story. Zussman, Red's best friend and brother-in-arms; Turner, first lieutenant and father figure to his soldiers; Pearson, second lieutenant and riddled with regret, anger and alcoholism. We begin the story on June 6, 1944, at the attack of Normandy. We are quickly introduced to the level of gore we can expect from the campaign as we see several dismantled limbs in the first few moments. We are tasked with making our way to the bunkers at the end of the beach to destroy them. However, during this attack, you find yourself in a knife fight with a German soldier. You are quickly saved by Zussman, who is unfortunately stabbed by this soldier. Zussman is hospitalized from his wounds.
Come here, buddy. I can't walk. Oh, shit. Get me the fuck out of here.
Upon his return, we follow the platoon through many missions as they try to force the German occupation out of France and past the Rhine. This is where we see the relationship between Pearson and Turner go downhill. The main reason is that they both have very different ideas of war. Turner will do anything to make sure his men are okay, even if it risks the completion of the mission, whereas Pearson believes that mission should always come first. What's interesting about these ideologies is that neither of them are inherently wrong. While you can argue that one is more or less effective or one is more or less humane, that doesn't necessarily make it wrong.
any casualties?
We executed the mission.
How many?
Our instructions were to take this hill.
You should have waited for us.
There wasn't time.
What about our...
We had orders!
The hell with our goddamn orders!
Do you think I wanted any of this? We are cogs in the machine, Joseph. We start going our own way, the whole thing breaks down. When did you forget that?
These are men! Our men! When did you forget?
Unfortunately, during the mission named Hill 493, Turner is shot in the dorsal by an unnamed German tank commander, resulting in his death. This puts Pearson in charge, and with the added stress this entails mixed with his guilt, Pearson spirals down a path of destructive tendencies and alcoholism. From the same German tank commander, we learn of a German plan to destroy the last bridge over the Rhine. We manage to successfully save the bridge and head to a nearby airbase to destroy the remaining explosives. However, they find themselves surrounded and Zussman is captured. Red tries to save him, but finds his way in a car crash instead. Zussman is taken to a prisoner of war camp, but when it is discovered that he is of Jewish descent, he is moved to a Jewish prisoner of war labor camp. Red has to wait until him and his platoon manage to take the Rhine before he can go and rescue Zussman. And in the final epilogue, he finds and saves Zussman as he is severely malnourished, dehydrated, and about to be executed. The Call of Duty World War II campaign focuses heavily on its realism and historical accuracy. The official genre of the game is first-person action. However, you can easily throw historic and maybe even visual novel due to the vast majority of the story being told through cutscenes. As mentioned before, there are 4 main characters within the campaign: Ronald Red Daniels, Robert Zussman, Joseph Turner, and William Pearson. You play as Red for most of the game, with a few exceptions like the first half of the mission Liberation, in which you play as Camille Rousseau-Dennis, a French resistance leader. Red lived in Longview, Texas his whole life, shielded from the outside world. Wanting to live up to his now deceased older brother, Red enlisted into the army and was assigned to the 1st Infantry Division. Throughout the story, we learn more about his brother's death and his pregnant wife back home. Zussman was born in 1923 and was raised in Chicago. Unfortunately, he is from a German Jewish descent, making it very difficult for him to fit in anywhere as a kid and even as an adult. We later learn that he speaks a bit of German and possesses street smarts, most likely as consequence of his heritage. Turner rose to the rank of 1st Lieutenant in 1939 and fought in the Battle of Kasserine with then Sergeant Pearson in 1943. During this battle, Turner files an Article 15 against Pearson that got him demoted for disobeying Turner's orders and getting his men killed. He continued to keep Pearson in line until his sudden death on the mission Hill 493. The loss of his men and rank changed Pearson from a loyal leader to an embittered shell of his former self. During the events of Call of Duty World War II, Pearson is cold, distant, strict, and callous towards everyone he meets. He is greatly disliked by many soldiers who find him to be apathetic and unlikable in general. Throughout the war, he becomes increasingly aggressive and falls further into alcoholism, especially after Turner's death. There weren't many gameplay mechanics that were new to Call of Duty in this game. Things like the Dolphin Dive made their debut in the first Black Ops in 2010. However, there was one change that greatly affected the gameplay. They completely got rid of health regeneration. In most other first-person games, your player slowly regains health after avoiding damage for an allocated amount of time. In Call of Duty World War II, they abandoned this mechanic and replaced it with health packs that you find around the game. Health packs, as well as ammo packs and other abilities, can be called in from your teammates. Each teammate has their own ability, like Zussman has health packs, Turner has ammo packs, and Pearson can show the enemy locations. These abilities are on separate meters that are charged up by kills. This new mechanic makes you greatly value the resources you have. You naturally find yourself using more cover to avoid gunfire, and making every shot count as you conserve ammo. It makes it feel more realistic and immersive. There are a few different audience groups that are attracted to this game. Due to the game going back to its roots, a lot of fans of older Call of Duty games have come back to the franchise to play it. There are also those who are dedicated to the franchise, and those who are greatly interested in the time era. As you can see, there are a lot of people who would be interested in this game. Due to the age rating of 18, I would put this target audience between 18 to 30 and of any gender. Let's break this section down into 4 categories. I'll give a rating for each one. The graphics in this game are by far the best we've seen in the franchise. The sheer detail you can see on the characters is phenomenal. There were cutscenes that really stood out to me. It was during Turner's death, and during my first playthrough I actually asked myself, is this live action? I'll give the visuals a 9 out of 10, however the visuals for Turner's death are a clear 10 out of 10.
Get our boys out of here.
No, we can still make it.
You have to retreat.
No, we ain't leaving you here.
Get me up, I'll hold them off. You have to go! Go!
It was an honor.
No sacrifice too great. Go.
Fall back!
Sergeant! Move! Move! Fall back!
Move! Go! Go!
This is another category that COD went all out in. The voice acting and the sound effects sound incredibly realistic. I think the best and most bizarre way to show you is through the sound of a burn victim. I'll give the audio an 8 out of 10. Call of Duty campaigns are designed to have a low replayability. This is because it is the least focused on part of the game when you take into account all the post-release patches. I will give the replayability a 3 out of 10. While I don't think this campaign will leave an effect on me for years to come, like say the Black Ops series, I do think the campaign is very good and I would recommend anyone to play it. I'll rate the campaign 8 out of 10.
Death don't have no mercy in this land. Death don't have no mercy in this land. They come to your house and it won't stay long. You look in the bed, somebody be gone. Death don't have no mercy in this land.
Time to show what you're made of, soldier.
the campaign out the way, we can now talk about the multiplayer. For several years now, Call of Duty has been set in the future, and with that came an advanced movement system that completely changed the meta of the game. Due to the community's distaste for this movement, Call of Duty World War II went back to boots on the ground. There isn't really a clear narrative within the multiplayer. While each game mode has its own goals and settings, they don't tell a story. However, there is one game mode that could be seen as having a narrative, and that's War. Within War, 2 teams of 6 are divided into offense and defense. The offense have to complete tasks like escort a tank, capture a building, or plant the bomb, while the defenders have to stop them. The reason why I believe they somewhat have a story is because of the beginning and end cutscenes that play. They are of your commanding officer telling you what to do and what the effect of you winning or losing is. It is clear that World War II multiplayer genre is a first-person action game. However, it does differ from other COD games. See, the franchise has dabbled in the genre of an arcade shooter, meaning they have more outlandish elements, although this game has none of that. It focuses heavily on its realism. When it comes to the characters in multiplayer, there is a similar issue as the narrative. You don't play as a named character. Instead, you are able to customize your appearance. You can change your head, helmet, and outfit. Your outfit also changes depending on if you're playing on the Axis or Allied forces, as well as what division you're in. There are many different game modes to choose from, and more are being added. Each one has their own objectives to complete. The 3 most popular are Team Deathmatch or TDM, Domination, and War. TDM is your standard team-on-team battle. 2 teams of 6 are tasked with collectively getting 75 kills before their opponents. Domination is similar, but instead of getting kills, teams have to capture flags. They gain 1 point every 5 seconds for every flag they hold, but once a team reaches 100 points, they enter halfway and switch sides. A team wins once they reach 200 points. War has the same team size and limit, and we can use Operation Breakout as an example. The offensive team must capture the German Forward Operating Base, or FOB, and capture the intel inside. They must then repair a destroyed bridge in order to advance their tank over the canal. They then must push forward towards the Flak 88 ammo supplies and destroy it. They do this by planting a bomb and defending it until it explodes. Finally, they must escort their tank towards the Flak 88s to destroy them and let their air support through. Failure to do so will lead to their air support being shot down. During all this, the defender must do everything they can to stop them. They can do this by killing them, repairing turrets, building walls, and defusing the bomb. Other gameplay aspects include creating a class by choosing what gun and equipment you'd like and the division you want to assign with, testing your gun in the firing range, and having casual 1v1 minigames with other players. Other Call of Duty games tend to cater towards a younger audience. They did this by having bright, flashy environments and silly guns and characters. However, COD World War II is gritty and doesn't have the same vibrance as the others. With the age rating of 18 in mind, I would say this game is targeted towards those between 18 and 25. I will once again break this down into 4 categories. Once again, this game does not disappoint when it comes to graphics. While it's not as good as the campaign due to being online and not utilising cutscenes, it is still very good. I will give this a rating of 8 out of 10. It is clear they used a lot of the same audio from campaign, and I'm fine with that. The audio was yet again incredible, and I'm rating it another 8 out of 10. The multiplayer is where the developers want and expect their audience to play the most. This is why the replayability is very important. However, when compared to other COD games, you begin to notice a lack of something. It's hard to put a name on it, but the class creation is beyond simplistic and the divisions limit the amount of freedom you have. The challenges are pitiful when compared to a game like Black Ops 3, and the rewards seem lackluster. The game is most certainly replayable and enjoyable, and it most certainly isn't a bad game, but the, for lack of a better term, lack of content hurts its replayability. I'm rating this a 6 out of 10. As mentioned before, this is most certainly not a bad game. I would even claim it to be an above average COD game, but with issues mentioned before and the 3-year production schedule they had, I can't help but have expected a bit more. My overall rating is 7 out of 10.
I have seen a vision of our Führer's future. The death of the old world and the birth of the new. Can you hear it? Drums. The drums of war. The march of progress. I have built more than just a new kind of soldier. I have created the devil himself.
We're now on to the last aspect of this game, the Nazi zombies, or just zombies for short. Zombies made its first appearance in COD 4 World at War in 2008. It has since then developed into an incredibly confusing story involving time travel and alternate dimensions. COD World War 2 has decided to go their own way with a brand new story and horror as their main focus. Maria Fischer, an Austrian engineer played by Catherine Winnick, is sent on a mission to retrieve lost artifacts stolen by the Nazis. They have been using these artifacts and Maria's kidnapped brother Claus to exploit the new energy and assist in the Nazi war efforts. Maria is accompanied by a Scottish ex-art thief Drosten Hyde, played by David Tennant, art historian turned French resistant fighter Olivia Durant, played by Elodie Young, and United States Army Captain Jefferson Potts, played by Ving Rhames. While travelling to Mittelberg, their carriage is attacked by a large mysterious monster. Maria wakes up in a small village just outside of Mittelberg. She is forced to fight off the undead and reunite with the rest of the group. When she does so, the 4 of them must fight their way into the German bunker, retrieve the artifact, and eventually face the previous monster once again, all while waves of endless undead hordes try to kill them. It is clear that this game is not for the faint-hearted. The whole marketing campaign was about the horror aspect of the game, and they delivered. The map and atmosphere are constantly eerie, and there are occasional jump scares to keep you on your toes. The genre of this game is clearly horror. There are 4 main characters in the game, however, there isn't much information about them at this time. Maria Fischer is the leader of the group and uses her engineering knowledge to inform the group about the weapons the Nazis are making. Drosten Hyde acts as a bit of a comic relief. He is the only one who shows fear in this situation. However, it is clear he does not want to go through with the mission and is only there because he has to. Olivia Durant doesn't have much information revealed about her. All we know is that she is an art historian and now fights for the French resistance. Jefferson Potts is an American soldier and displays a deep hatred for the Nazi party. He is the tank of the group.
What the hell was that?
I told you this was bugger! Austin told you!
There are 2 ways of playing this. You can either follow the on-screen instructions and make your way through the challenges and puzzles to complete the game, or, the far more popular method, use the resources around you to survive as long as you can. Around the map are locked doors, armor, and buyable weapons. There are also blitz power-ups that grant the player different abilities like reloading faster, sprinting longer, and increasing damage. All of these can be bought using a currency known as jolts. These are earned by killing zombies, with bonuses awarded for headshots and melee kills. As you gain kills, you also charge up your special ability that can award you with one of 4 abilities. These can either grant the player camouflage, temporary ammo, stunning nearby enemies, and finally, attracting all zombies to you and granting the player double damage.
The scaring nature of Nazi zombies limits who can play this. Fans of the fast-paced, somewhat casual multiplayer may not transition well to Nazi zombies. It is made for a more mature audience with more patience and are fans of the horror genre. So, I would say that the target audience would be horror fans and those between 20 and 35.
Let's go through the list. In case you hadn't noticed, the campaign and multiplayer have set a high standard for the graphics in this game. With this in mind, Nazi Zombies lives up to that standard. In fact, when I showed my non-COD fan of a friend the cutscene for the prologue, he questioned whether it was live action or not, although it wasn't enough for him to play the game. I will give this rating an 8 out of 10. Yet again, this game does not disappoint. Everything sounds clean and realistic, and the music fits the atmosphere perfectly. The audio also works well with the jump scares, intensifying their effect. I'm rating this a 9 out of 10. When you take a long look at Nazi Zombies, you end up seeing the same formula as previous games. It is the same survival game we know and love that will be adored by some, ignored by some, and hated by few. I'll rate this a 7 out of 10. I think this is a good zombies game. The characters are interesting and are played by well-known actors, the story has potential, and the horror puts a unique twist on it. I'll rate this an 8 out of 10. While there are many things I would have done differently, Call of Duty World War II is by no means a bad game. It is a good addition to the franchise that brings it back to its much-loved roots and was able to revitalise a lot of people's love for Call of Duty. If you used to play COD and have thought about returning, or have never played and thought about starting, this game would do a good job of easing you in. It's not at all the best game they've made, but it's good enough to be remembered.
Its head came clean off!